It's Thumper, the Rabid Rabbit. I'm here today to discuss what I believe is the most consequential change of the April 2024 Rust electricity update, and that is the ability to handle electrical signals far better than we have been able to in the past. Let me demonstrate what I mean. I'm going to start with a pressure pad and a light. Since they've lowered the light to only use 1 rust watt, this is a very simple demonstration. Pressure pad with no input generates a pulse of 1 rust watt. Boom. Turns on the light. Fantastic. Historically, the 1 rust watt we generated as a signal here would be lost as soon as we send it through any other logical component. Because of that, it meant that anytime we wanted to use a signal from something like a pressure pad or a laser detector or something like that, we would have to add power to it. Now, we would do that with an AND switch. So we would take an AND switch, you would take your signal, and run it into one side. So let's say we would run it into this side, and then we'd have a power source. I'm just going to use the battery really quick here. This is how we had to do this. Because the single rust watt from the pad would be lost going through the switch, you would not be able to power a light. Lights used to use 2 if you wanted to power multiple lights, or a pager, like an RF transmitter, or the alarm to signal your Rust app. This is the setup we had to use. The 1 watt would trigger the AND switch to send the rest of the power through, so the rest of the power could be used to trigger the circuit. That was problematic, especially if you wanted to use more than 1 input, because then you would need an additional power source for every single one of these. Let me show you what I mean. So let's say we have, we'll take 4, and let's take a light, and we'll combine those together with 3 OR switches. So let's take this scenario. And if you use your imagination, you can think of a lot of different ways where this signal circuit combination would come in. So let's take those. I'm going to take these OR switches. We'll just drop them roughly in between here. This is so we can combine these 2 into 1 signal, these 2 into 1 signal, combine both of these together into 1 signal, and then go to the light. So output to A, output to B, output to A, and this output to B. And then you can see they each trigger one side of the OR switch. But that would have been the end of your 1 rust watt. It would have been consumed by the OR switch. Now that the OR switch consumes 0 power, that signal can make it through both OR switches and the 3rd OR switch all the way up and set off that light or your alarm circuit. This is huge. This is a huge deal. This is why I wanted to bring this up, because if you've looked at any of the older videos I've done where you need to combine this signal with additional power with an AND switch, that is no longer necessary. Very important. You may not do a lot of signaling off of triggers like this for traps, but in your everyday life, here's an even better example. Take a turret. Take an auto turret. Now, the auto turret by itself has 3 outputs. 1 to tell you if there's no ammo, 1 to tell you if it's low ammo, and 1 to tell you if it's acquired a target. Now, again, in the past, this would be a signal that comes out of here, and you'd have to combine it with more power to send it to an alert circuit. If you had 10 of these turrets lined up here, then each of those would have to have its own power boost to carry its signal far enough through your logic to warn you on your pager or your app or whatever. Let me give this guy some power here, and I'll show you what I mean. You can just replace this scenario for these pads, right? Just like the pressure pads generate a signal, so does the turret. So we'll just disconnect this, and oops, duh, why did I hook that right back up? All right. Let's put this on has target, okay? So now we can step on these pads and set off the alert. That's just a 1 pulse. But if what are we gonna need here? We're gonna need Spawn a scientist. There we go. See, now it can see the scientist. It has a target. It's sending that signal out. And just like any one of these could have triggered the light, the turret is now triggering the light. You get the idea. Holy crap, that's annoying. Despawn. Oh. Well, my despawn isn't working, so I'm gonna need myself a weapon. Take a knife. Well, he was harder to kill than I thought. Okay, but you get the idea. And for everybody who's playing right now, my apologies. I know every time there's gunfire in one of these videos, it scares the ever-living shit out of you. So once you put your skin back on, welcome back to the video. But this is the practical application of this. These 4 pressure pads could be 4 turrets, right? So that's the trick. You run a dozen turrets all the way around your base. You can combine them all with ore switches, and you can keep connecting them in a row. These don't have to be hierarchically chained like this either. So let's say you did have 10 turrets. You can just chain them along. So just go like this, and then bring your turret into the first one. And then you can run another turret in here. Then this can go to here. You can add another turret in, chain this to the next one, add another turret in, chain this to the next one, add another turret in, and any turret along this path. Because these do not consume power anymore, that signal will make it all the way to the end of this chain, and the end of this chain can plug into your transmitter or whatever you want to use. You can have a smart alarm, throw it off here, and then, oops. Put power in there. Oh, yeah. And there you go. So you could put a bunch of turrets down, chain them all together. If you like the hierarchical design, you could have, 2 turrets into each of these, flow up to 1 ore switch, and have 1 signal for all 4. Doesn't matter. Personal preference. Probably makes the most difference on where your turrets are located in your base. If they're near to each other, you can combine them together into 1 signal and carry that along. If they're, along the edge of the building and you just want to keep carrying this signal wire along your building and just add another ore circuit or ore switch for every turret that you add, just keep extending and extending and extending. No big deal. That all works now. So that's what I wanted to cover today. Maybe it's obvious to you. If you've been playing for a while, this is a huge improvement. If you're new, be glad that you started now, because Rust electricity just got way the hell easier without it consuming power for each of these components. A lot easier. What used to take 20 Rust watts from multiple power sources can now just be done with a simple signal circuit with no power loss. Fan-fucking-tastic. It makes this so easy, it'll put me out of business. I'm totally fine with that. This is not my full-time job, as you've noticed. I play lots of other games and I have a full-time job. So if you have any questions, comments, feedback, have any previous videos that you would like to see me go back and show an updated design for, now that we don't have these same power requirements, maybe they're the same, maybe they're not. Feel free to ask, give me an example, ask for an example, whatever you like, and try to make some time to put that together. Otherwise, I'm working on a different game series for Farming Sim right now, so you'll see that pop up on the channel here right quick. And probably won't do alerts for that, because I know most people are subscribed for Rust content. But if you'd like to see more Rust content, please let me know what your request is, and I will be happy to engage. Until next time, good luck, and don't suck.